like, girl, if anything, I need to be calling the cops on you because you just stole my $600 and went to go pay your bills and went to go pay for your little silk press, sweetie. What's up, beautiful people? It's your girl Janiaaaliyah, and I am back with another video. If it's your first time here, hi, welcome. I would offer you a seat, but y'all already know. Only my subscribers can sit down. So if you're trying to get you a seat, then go ahead and smack that subscribe button down below and hurry up, because we got stuff to get into. Okay, great. So, as y'all can see, I got a new hairstyle, new hair color. And yes, before you even ask, it's all mine. But anyways, y'all saw the thumbnail. Y'all read the title. So I know why y'all are here. So let's get into this story. So basically, this is it, right? This was around like 7th grade. And I would say in like 7th grade, I feel like that's really when I truly started to find myself and just like discover that I love doing a lot of stuff, okay? And so around that time, like typically I would do what did I do? I would do basketball and track. And so I did that in 6th grade, right? And when 7th grade came, I think I had maybe kind of started looking at like volleyball stuff, and I was like, oh my gosh, you know, I really want to do volleyball or whatever. And like at the end of the basketball season, like last year, I had told my coach, like, yeah, you know, like I think I want to play volleyball, so I'm going to come try out or whatever. And I came to try out, and she put me on the team. And so mind y'all, this is middle school. Most coaches really don't care how much you know about the sport, because in middle school, that's really when you like really get out there, unless your parents got you involved early, which I highly recommend. But if they didn't, it's okay, it's okay. So yeah, middle school, a lot of those coaches really kind of introduce you to the sport. So that's when I was originally introduced to volleyball, right? And I got put on the team because apparently I could jump, and I was like, oh, okay, cool, fine. And remember that part, I can jump. Save it for later. So at that point, I was like, all right, great. And eventually, like the coach, she started handing out the schedule and whatnot. And around that time that I had first told her, you know, I wanted to try out, and she told me about the tryouts and whatnot, I had also, I don't know what came across me, but I had kind of decided that I wanted to try my hand at cheerleading. And now let me give y'all some background info on cheerleading in my life. So my oldest sister was a cheerleader, and she was pretty good. I remember we went to some of her competitions, and then it was this one competition where like they had like 2 outfits on. They had parachute pants, and then in the middle of the like show, they had a part where they like ripped off the parachute pants and the jacket and stuff. And my dad, he started freaking out. He was like,
oh my god, they stripping. Y'all never cheered again.
But he got over it. And so after that, my younger sister, she did cheer. And then I skipped her, but my other older sister, she also did cheerleading at some point, okay? Now, this was around the time when she was the only child before I was born. And she did all that stuff. She, mama had her and all the stuff. Now, when it came to me, yeah. Anyways, so yeah, so all my sisters, I was the only one who had not had that experience, you know, cheering. Like my little sister, she did the gymnastics and everything with the backflips and the trampolines, and I was just really feeling like I can do it. I know I can. And so yeah, that was that. So I talked to my volleyball coach. I'm like, yeah, you know, I was thinking I wanted to do cheer too, but I know that they at the same time, because I wanted to cheer for football season. So I'm like, I know that they're at the same time, so like, do you think I can do both? She was like, so you want to do cheer and volleyball? And I was like, yeah. And kudos to her because she was very, very supportive. I'm gonna call her Coach Do. We're gonna call her Coach Do. So she was very supportive. She was like, okay, well, you know, like, I'm gonna need you at practice and stuff. So like, if you can find a way to come to practice and stuff, then yeah, go ahead. Like, okay. And so she was very supportive of me doing both sports. Mind y'all, I was like, our basketball season was so long, so I was with her like all the time. Like, we were very close. And so then summer comes, and over this summer is when the cheer tryouts would happen. Because of course, football season is like it starts like the first week of school. That's the first football game. So we have to use the summer to learn all the cheers. So I can't remember exactly what was going on over the summer. But I think, oh yeah, I remember. It came back. So basically over the summer we had our little tryouts or whatever. And the first day of tryouts was probably like a few days after the last day of school. It originally started like the last week of school. But during the last week of school we had to learn a routine. And so then at the actual tryouts is when we basically performed that routine for the judges and did all our jumps and stuff. Okay? Yeah. And so basically made it through that week or whatever, learned the routines, and it wasn't until we had to learn those routines that I realized, like, girl, you really can't dance. Now listen, hear me out. I knew I didn't have any rhythm because, you know, I used to sing in the church choir. Yes, ma'am. Yes, I did. I was an alto. I was. And so basically when we were singing in the church choir, you know how you would clap? My clap was always off. And so the choir director would literally come up and in practice sometimes, like, they would stand in front of me and like hold my hands while we singing and clap my hands together. And then they'll try to let go and then I go. So yeah. And so basically how we resolved that during choir practice was I did this silent clap. It's up. Sound like it's World War II outside. But anyways, silent clap. I didn't put the hands together so that way if I was off you couldn't tell. So we doing this and literally I had to practice that dance more than anybody. It's to the point where I get home, I'm doing the dance in the mirror. My mama like, Jania, stop stomping. I'm stomping, making the house shake, frames falling off the wall, sweetie, yes. Because I couldn't get that dance for nothing. And it was to the point where it was like other girls, like a lot of girls who had came out for the tryouts other than me. So they didn't have time to just sit there and make sure just Jania got the routine down. That wasn't their concern. That wasn't it. And so that's when, you know, I'm practicing at home. But now I'm recording videos, sending them to my friends, like how this look, like what I need to do. Do I need to change anything? And yeah. And so eventually I was kind of just, I was like, okay, it is what it is. Like, this is the best I can give. And so we got to them tryouts. And, you know, we had to do the little dance. Then we had to do the cheers. And then after, at the end, we had to like show the coaches our jumps. Like, you know, the toe touches and yeah. Ooh, I don't got it no more. But yeah. So basically how they did the tryout thing was, I think she came through and she may have like counted, like did some type of random count or whatever, and then put us into like a couple different groups and gave us those, like gave us numbers. They were like stickers to stick on our like legs or whatever, on our shorts. And when she called our group number, we all just went in. And I was hoping I had like some good people in my group to kind of carry us, because I just felt like when it came down to it, I just felt like, you know, if we had a bad group, the judges wouldn't hesitate like to just cut the whole group. Like if everybody else is bad, there's one good person. I just feel like, how do you tell? I don't know. And then also, I had never gotten cut from any type of tryouts that I've ever done, despite the fact that most of the things that I tried out for, it was my first time doing it. And so at that point, you know, I was kind of nervous because I was like, oh my God, is this the first time like I'm gonna get cut from a tryout, like where I'm not even close to good? Like at least trying out the other stuff. I was like, okay, I can run because I'm fast. I can jump in volleyball, like, you know, and they not that good either. So like, yeah, I was athletic. But it wasn't much running going on in cheer. And it wasn't like a competitive cheer team where we did like do those routines and whatnot. No. It was just strictly, you know, games and whatnot. So yeah, back on track. So it comes a time where they calling groups in, and I don't think beforehand we knew who the judges were. So basically they called my group, and I get in the the little classroom where we were trying out at, and I see all the girls in my group. And so before going in, we was low-key like in the hallway practicing, of course, because like, I wasn't the only one that was nervous. So we all in the hallway kind of like practicing with each other, because we like saw the numbers. I'm like, okay, you got number 8 too, okay, great. So we in there practicing. I'm like, shoot, like my leg was just not listening. Like I'm telling the leg to stomp, and it's like a second delay to the stomp. So yeah, but we get in that classroom, and when we get in there, I noticed that the judges, first of all, one of the judges is my favorite teacher. I'm gonna call her Miss Monroe. Miss Monroe, she was my favorite teacher, and everybody knew ain't no student in this school that she liked more than me. So yeah. But yeah, so Miss Monroe was one of the judges, and so when she saw me, she got so excited. She was like, and I'm like, and so yeah. And so then the other teacher was like one of my math teachers. We can call her Miss Rose. And so Miss Rose was another judge. And then of course the actual cheer coach, and y'all need to know her, Miss Davis. Miss Davis was the cheer coach, and y'all, she had the most stank attitude. She did. And I had never had her as a teacher before. And so it was to the point where I knew how mean of a teacher she was. So despite the fact that I was praying and hoping all summer that I made the cheer team, I was also praying and hoping all summer that I did not end up in her English class. And I didn't. So that was good. But yeah, so it was her, and then I think it was one more teacher, but I can't remember who it was. And so we get in the little classroom, and they have us line up. And I, of course, I walk in first. I'm all the way on the end. I don't want to be in the middle because I'm so nervous. I'm so nervous, y'all. So I think first things first, they had us do the little dance. And the little dance was just like some simple moves, like. And so we did that. And so after the dance, you know, I think one of them told me like, yeah, Jania, like you was a little late on some of the moves. And so at that point, I'm just nervous. But then I'm also telling myself like, really, I feel like if they didn't like you, if they like really ain't like what you did, they wouldn't even say anything. So that's how I was reassuring myself. I'm like, Jania, like if they really didn't like mess with you, they'll just let you, you know, have that bad performance and do whatever. Then next, we had to do the cheers, right? And mind y'all, I have 4 siblings. My younger sister is hectic. Well, was hectic. So when we was younger, and my older sister, like, she just used to bully me. So it was a lot of screaming. It was a lot of screaming and yelling going on in my household between us all the time. So I really know how to get loud. So when it came to the cheering thing, the only 2 things that I was confident in was my projection and my jumps. That was it. And my jumps, because like I said, my little sister did cheer, and so, you know, I'll be with her all the time, go to her practices and stuff. And so, like, you know, she'll come and be like, okay, Jania, look at this back bend over, and I'll be like, okay, like this. I could never land it. I always broke my neck, but I tried. That's all that matters. I tried. And so yeah, I have been practicing my jumps all summer, and I'm very flexible. Anyway. Yeah, so that's it. So next thing, we start doing the cheers, and I think we had about 3 cheers that we had to do for them. And the one I remember, I think it was like, I don't know, it was like a victory cheer. It was like, oh yeah, split that be done, that I roll, that CTORY. Yeah, it was like that, right? And so I think, oh, matter of fact, they probably had 4 cheers, because I think we all had to call a cheer, because they wanted to see how loud we were. And that was a cheer I called. So I'm all like, split that be done. Yeah, I'm killing it. I murdered it. I did amazing. And so yeah, we did that. But of course, like, only thing I'm amazing at is yelling, because when it got the stumps, I'm like this, it was just off. It was just so off. But mind y'all, I knew I was doing good, because when I let that split that, yeah, when I let that first couple words out, one of the judges was like, ooh, because I was loud. Yeah, we got little Cinderella's mouses over here, like, split that. No, baby, that ain't gonna work. Clock out for me. No. Yes. So when like, they saw how loud I could get, they was kind of impressed, which was good. But anyways, let me fast forward, because this is gonna be a long story. I ain't got time though. Yes. Okay. So basically, then we get to another cheer, and one of the judges pointed out that my clap was off, and I'm like, oh, okay. So then finally we have to do our jumps, and at that point I was feeling kind of down about myself, because like I done got 2 critiques on the dances, but I knew I couldn't dance. So I'm just like, girl, let's just be happy we made it this far. Yeah. So finally it's time for the jumps, and I think I was like the last one to jump. And when I tell you, my jump was like, I had some long legs, so my jump was so like good that I almost kicked the girl next to me in the face. Sure did. And I think my first one was a toe touch, and my toe touch at the time was astounding. And so when I did that toe touch, the same judge was like, ooh. And so everybody comes like I think they clapped after I did my jump, okay? And so I think really my jump saved me. So moral of the story, I made the team. So boom, this is where it starts getting challenging. So at this point, I made the team, and I feel like personally, if we had actually practiced over the summer like we planned, everything would have been fine. But I think something had happened, like with the captain of the team who was on the team like last year, where she was not able to do practices over the summer. So we never got the chance to do those summer practices until like the week before school started. So we was at school all day the week before school started, trying to learn those cheers and everything. And so I was there that whole week and everything, learning the cheers and whatnot, right? So finally, I think the season starts, and we didn't cheer the first game because I think the coach said we didn't know all the cheers she wanted us to know, and we wasn't ready, so we didn't cheer, right? So then after that, stuff starts to get hectic, because now not only are the football games going, now I also have volleyball games that I need to be at, plus practice, right? So I think basketball, when we had like a girls and boys team, like sometimes, you know, girls practice earlier, sometimes boys would practice like earlier and girls would practice later, so that was fine. But with volleyball, we was like the only ones using the gym at the time, so we practiced at the same time that cheer practice. And so the way I would do it is I would either go to cheer practice, stay there for about 45 minutes, then leave and spend the rest of the time at volleyball practice. Or go to volleyball practice, stay there for about 45 minutes, and then leave and spend the rest of the time at cheer practice. Now, when it came to volleyball was benefiting from that setup because I did not have to necessarily learn any routines with volleyball. I just had to get there and, like, you know, just get there. And we did a couple practices, hitting the ball. Love me some volleyball. Oh my God, I want to play volleyball. Sorry. But yeah. So that was it for volleyball. It was all good. But cheer, where stuff really started to go downhill, was they would just decide randomly that we need to learn 3 new cheers for the next game. And mind y'all, this is middle school. Everybody and their mama getting their phone taken, don't have a phone not in service, just so much craziness. So I would get to the cheer practice, and crazy thing is, like, the coach, she wouldn't even be at the practice. Like, she like will let the captain run things and then like maybe show up towards the end when everybody wait on their rides, but she wouldn't be there. And so I show up to the practice towards the end, and they're running through some new cheer. Now mind y'all, I'm a very fast learner for everything but dance moves. I can't do that. I just couldn't do it. And so it was just very hard for me to keep up with these new cheers. I just could not. Like, what? And so basically, like, I'm kind of just like, oh my gosh. And I think, like, when the coach would show up, she'd be like, okay, Jania, you made it. All right. They learned to do cheer. Do you know it? Or like, she'll show up towards the end of the practice, right? And when she shows up, she would basically, like, we'll have to do whatever new cheer we learned for her, right? And so it would come time, like, we doing cheers that we know, running through them, whatever. Then randomly the captain would call a cheer I don't know. And I'm just like, I don't know that. And so when I would say that, the coach would just be like, okay, well, you need to go through the movements and learn it as they're doing it. So now I'm looking stupid, trying to, like, what? Like, I'm trying to run through the cheer as they doing it or whatever. And literally, I knew I looked stupid, and she knew I looked stupid, so I don't even know if she told me that. But she would get mad and be like, okay, Jania, just step to the side. And I'm like, okay, as I should. Like, so I'll step to the side. So that's when she was like, okay, Jania, you need to make sure you learn those cheers. If you need to get Nia, I said her name. Okay, that was a cheer captain named Nia. Why do I always do this? Why? Nia was a nice girl. Anyways, so she was all like, yeah, you know, get Nia's number so she can send you videos of the cheers or whatever, right? So I got Nia's kick, I think, and then later on from the kick I got her number. But I would blow Nia's phone up like, Nia, can you send me the cheer? Nia, can you blah blah blah? Like, Nia, I need to know this because we'll have a game the next day. So I'm like, can you please send it to me? Like, I don't mind having to practice the cheers at home. Like, just, you know, I need that. Nia would not respond. She just would not respond. Or she'll, like, sometimes she'll respond and be like, okay, hold up. 10 hours later, nothing. So now I'm just like, I get to the school and like the day of, now Nia's here trying to teach me to cheer and it's just not going. Like, it's not working. And so at this point, you're probably wondering, so Jania, what did you do when you got to the games? So basically, if you've ever cheered before, you know that you have to smile the whole time. And I was used to that. Like, I love smiling. That's why I hate wearing masks now. It's like a love-hate relationship. I love wearing the mask because I feel like a ninja. But then I hate wearing the mask because people can't see when I smile under the mask. And it makes me feel very, very sad. Like, I'll be doing like this. Like, and I'm like, oh my god, these people probably think I'm so stupid. But anyways, back on track. But anyways, so basically, like, during the game, if we weren't doing the cheer, we're standing like this the whole time, just smiling. And what made me so mad is that sometimes the coach wouldn't even let us turn around and watch the game. So the audience is looking over our heads watching the game, and we standing here like this looking at them. Like, it was just honestly sickening. But anyways, so basically, you know, if I knew the cheer, I would do it. If not, I'm here like this. And then when we went through the jump, I did the jump. Like, that was it. And so, of course, that started like me. I'm already a goofy person. So, I didn't really see it as that embarrassing, really. Was it? I guess. But I didn't see it as that embarrassing. Like sometimes my friends would come to the game and be like, Jania, just stand right there. And the coach, like, she literally would not let us talk to anybody who wasn't on the team. So, like, I just be like, no. And so it would, like, that would literally be the pattern for each game, y'all. It was just so freaking bad. It was to the point where this old friend that I had actually recorded me over the series of the season at football games, posing like this on most of the cheers, because it just got worse and worse. Like, it started off, okay, I didn't know 3 cheers. Then over the next few, I didn't know 6 cheers. Then, like, basically at some point I just knew about one of them. I'm like, oh, finally one I know. Finally, split that V, died that I, roll that CTOR. Like, it was just so bad. So bad. And there was a whole collage, and I'm like, sweetheart, if you ever post that again, I'm gonna have to meet you outside. Don't show nobody that. Y'all want to see me standing and smiling? Come to the game. But don't do that. So I honestly thought it was funny, but yeah. And so eventually, as the season progressed, the coach started getting fed up, and so did I. So did I. And so I think at some point, she was like, I think I was standing there one game, and like I said, my friends were always kind of like, oh my god, why you standing right there? And I couldn't help but laugh. Like, I'm already smiling, why can't I laugh? And the coach would, like, she would noticeably, like, see them saying stuff to me and then look at me to see what I'm doing. Then if she see me laugh, she'd be like, okay, come sit right here. And y'all, I live in the South, so them games was burning hot. So one, I was happy to sit, and she always had her little umbrella. So I go, she told me to go sit next to her, so I go sit next to her. I'm under that umbrella. She's like, oh no, scoot to the edge. You ain't finna sit under my umbrella. No. I'm like, ooh, girl, don't do that. So I scoot to the edge. I'm sitting there, right? And so, you know, sometimes my grandma would come to the games, and like at some point my grandma like would even show up to the games. Then every time she saw me standing like this, she would record whatever cheer it was and then send it to me when I got home so I can learn that cheer. And I'm just like, thank you, grandma, because if you was my real friend and you saw me standing, or just in general, you would have done the same. Like, why did nobody else think of this? Like, why do everybody have to have a middle school brain? Like, why y'all couldn't all think like grandma? Ugh, I didn't think of that. So yeah, so then basically that game where she had me sitting down, I'm sitting there, and she starts talking mess about me. And I'm like, girl, why you talking about me? Like, oh my god. Like, she's like, yeah, nah, she gonna sit right here because she don't know nothing to chill, blah, blah, blah. And I'm just like, girl, whatever. Whatever. And so, mind y'all, I forgot to mention this in the beginning. But mind y'all, once we made the team, I think she had like gave us paperwork. And so in the paperwork, the fee for being on a team was $600. Yes, $600. Oh my god, my nose ring turned. Okay, I think that's fine. But yeah, so $600. And so of course, I didn't know this ahead of time. I had no clue it was gonna be $600. I've done almost every other sport at this school, and I've only had to pay like $125. And basically, if once I played the sport like twice and I already had some of the stuff for it, I probably had to pay like $75. Like, not that much. Period. So when I go home and tell my daddy, like, yeah, you know, it's $600, he almost had a heart attack. Yes, almost just fell out, just dropped dead, almost, but he didn't. Thank you for staying alive, daddy. But $600. And so I think at some point, like, I knew, okay, my dad do not want to pay this. Like, it's just not gonna happen. So I go to school, I'm telling her, I'm like, okay, so like, is it something like I cannot get? Because my dad said that $600 is just, you know, too much. Like, can I buy my own shoes or something? And she's like,
no, the $600, it gonna cover your shoes. And then we have custom uniforms, and then we have custom sweatsuits.
And so basically she was like, what your daddy say? Okay, let me talk to him. So this lady literally made me pull out my phone, call my father, and hand her the phone. So I guess she talked to my dad. And of course, like, my dad, he's nice. He's very nice, but he does not like, I don't think anybody likes when you put them on the spot. Because I remember one time, like, I was always that friend. I don't like leaving my friend stranded. And so, like, I would wait till my dad pulled up to pick me up to ask him if he could drop my other friend off at home. And he'll get mad when I do that, because it's like, dude, did you want him to, like, say no while your friend was popping her head through the window? And so yeah, but moral of the story, I think he basically like told her like he'll work something out on the phone. And at that point, I'm kind of surprised, and at the same time I'm like, girl, I hope he didn't just set me up, because if they tell me I gotta get home and freaking pull the floorboards up and put down new tiles and freaking I don't know, clean the attic, it's gonna be a problem. I'm gonna have to quit the team. Because what we not gonna do, I didn't have to do that. But yeah, so he ended up paying it or whatever, wrote the check. I gave her the check, and so we paid it, right? Now mind y'all, this $600 we supposed to pay was supposed to be for cheerleading shoes, the cheer skirt uniform, a cheer sweatsuit with our names embroidered on it, a few little hair bows for our hair, and I think like a couple pairs of socks. Bundle deal, right? And now part of me was a little suspect because I had been playing basketball for about 2 years at that point, and in basketball they bought us the Nike shoes, the Nike sweatsuit, the Nike undershirt, all of that for $125. So I'm like, whatever booster the basketball coach is messing with, you need to go mess with them, because this right here, girl, you paying your bills. She was paying her bills. And so mind y'all, we just paid all of that. We paid that much, right, for this lady to not even give us the uniforms before the first half of the season was over, right? So for the first few games, I think for the first few games, she actually had us cheering in our white tee and black shorts that we had on for tryouts. So that was fine originally. Oh yeah, and I think it came with a pair of practice shorts too. So that was supposed to be in the bundle too. So originally that was fine because, you know, we like, okay, yeah, you know, it's the beginning of the season, you know, I need to give it time for it to get here. That's cool. That's fine. Then time goes on, and I think when time went on, she actually ended up tracking down some of the old cheerleaders and getting them to return their uniforms, because apparently I guess they had rented theirs. And I'm like, okay, why you didn't give us that option? Because I think she was saying, like, we paying $600 for these uniforms, but we can't even keep the uniforms. And so basically that's why I'm like, okay, so what? Like, something ain't right. Something ain't right. So she tracks them down, and now we're wearing like their old uniforms. So she washed them, everything. We wearing their old uniforms. And so at that point, like, nothing out of that $600 bundle has came in. So she even has us, like, she makes us go buy our own white shoes. Now mind y'all, we supposed to be getting white shoes in this bundle that we paid $600 for. So we needed the white shoes before the game, so we just went to Walmart. I got some Dr. Scholl's white shoes, and I was wearing those for the first few games. And so eventually the cheer shoes finally came in, and I ended up giving another cheerleader the white shoes because she had forgot hers one game, and I had my cheer shoes. So we got the shoes, right? And that was that. That was it. That was it that we had acquired at that time. And so game still going on. So fast forward back to the game we were at, where she made me sit next to her under the umbrella, but then told me, oh girl, no, you can't sit under my umbrella. So I'm at that game, and I think that game my older sister had decided, like, okay, we gonna go see Jania cheer today, like, period. And so mind y'all, I think they had already known, like, girl, like, I don't even be cheering for real. Like, girl, like, how you not get in a game on a cheer team? Like, how you sit on a bench on a cheer team? I think that's actually what she said to me, like, how you ride the bench for a cheer team? Like, how does that even, like, please walk me through that. I will not do that. I will never. So anyways, but yeah, so she pulled up to the game or whatever, and I think it was her, one of her friends, and you know, they was just there. And I think as I was on the bench, that's when I saw her walking down. And so, you know, I'm waving at her. I'm waving. I'm like, hey girl. And so the cheer curts turn and look at me like, so you really don't, like, she starts yelling, like, going off on me. So she's like,
so you really gonna sit here and I got you on this bench for talking information, and you're really gonna sit here on this bench in your punishments and still talk to whoever? And
I'm like, what are you talking about? She's like, no, don't talk back to me. And so at that point, like, she was just doing entirely too much, drawing the most attention. And I'm a very respectful child person, period. So in no form, shape, or way was I disrespecting her, and I knew that. So at that point, I just did the right thing and I just shut up. And so this lady, she was just doing the most. And so I think she told me, like, get away from her or something. And so she was like, don't go out there, don't go sit with the friends. And so at that point, my favorite teacher, Miss Monroe, saw that she was just doing the most. And so she was just like, okay, Jania, just come sit over here by me. And so she had me just telling her whatever, like, basically what was going on. And I'm like, she just really started going off on me for waving at my sister. Like, my sister came to the game to see me cheer, and like, she just really started doing the most. And so at that point, I think she had cooled down a little bit and told me to come back over there by her. So I go over there, and then I think that's when my sister had went over there and like basically told her, like, okay, like, I'm her sister, not her friend. I came to see her cheer, but I didn't want to get her in trouble. So no, she wasn't talking to her friend, she was talking to me. Then so they say, oh, please go away. Okay, thank you, bye. Like, was being so rude. And so at that point, I think my sister was probably like, she was probably like 20. I don't know, but she always looked 12. So yeah. So she's like, oh girl, like, at this point you doing too much. And at this point I feel like I'm kind of just like, oh my gosh, because the way my life is set up, I'm respectful, but I don't know, it's the thing about me where I'm respectful, and you know, I don't provoke people. I don't like really confront people, but I will confront people about my siblings. Like, my sister, she's really nice too, and you know, I fight people for my siblings, so I don't care. And so at that point, I felt like me and my sister had this telepathic moment where we had agreed we was gonna jump this lady. But I'm like, no, because if we disrespect this lady, our grandma is gonna whoop us, and we don't want grandma to whoop us. So we like, okay, we ain't gonna do that. So I'm just still sitting there being respectful, because I'm like, you know, like, okay, no. My daddy paid $600 for this. I'm gonna be respectful. So I'm just quiet. Finally, the game ends. The team, they cleaning up the water bottles and the pom-poms and stuff. So she tell me, get up, go clean up with them. So I go clean up with them. And while we getting ready to walk inside to the locker room. And so my sister comes up, like, she's walking kind of near me. And that's when, you know, I'm like, okay, girl, hold my pom-poms. Because at that point, I think we just had to go and grab our bags out the locker room. So I'm like, here, hold my pom-poms. So I give my pom-poms to my sister. And she didn't know where to go. So we're walking through the school back to the locker room. And so at that point, like, she was kind of following me. And so the cheer coach stops her at the door as we come through the door. She's like, oh, you can't come in here. Like, no, you can't come in here. And my sister was like, wait, what are you talking about? Like, I'm her sister. Like, she was like, why do you have those? Who gave you those? And this lady's going off talking about the pom-poms. And I'm like, I gave her my pom-poms. Like, that's my sister. Like, what are you? She's like, no, you don't let nobody else touch your stuff. Like, no, And so she snatched the pom-poms out of my sister's hands and gave me the pom-poms. And I'm looking at her like, ooh. No, ma'am. And so at that point, like, I think my sister may have like told her, like, oh my god, like, girl, okay, take these pom-poms because you being disrespectful, as she should. Because at that point, my sister was a grown adult and this lady was a grown adult acting like a child. And so my sister said what had to be said. Now, mind you, if I would have said that, that would have been very disrespectful on my part because I was a minor. But no, my sister said what had to be said, sweetie. She did. And so basically, the cheer coach act like she feel insulted. So she's like, okay. And so she walk us to the locker room. And this lady, she's just talking under her breath, acting like, you know, somebody just disrespected her to the max or whatever. And that was that. So after that, I get in a car because my sister was picking me up. She was my ride. And so I think before I was getting in the car, she's like, the cheer coach is like, Jania, where's your ride? Who's picking you up? And I'm like, my sister. She's like, oh, okay, so that actually is your sister. And I'm like, why would I have to lie and say that was my sister? And so at this point, we all finally in the car, and my sister, like, she wasn't upset or mad or anything. She was just kind of more so like, what's up with that lady? Because like I said, she was just overly rude. And her kind of personality already, the coach, she was like very sedity, like very, you know, bougie, but bougie rude, like bougie stank, like just very stank. Okay, so she was already like that, right? So fast forward to like the next day, right? So next day, oh my god, what's that? So next day, and I can't remember if this was like a game, a practice, what? I don't know. But we in middle school, middle schoolers play around all the time, right? So I think one day we were playing around in the hallway like before practice, and one of my friends, and I think he was on a football team, one of my friends, like, I think he took my phone or my phone charger, something, right? He took it and ran into the locker room. Now, mind y'all, I ain't finna run into no locker room. I'm not finna do that. So I run down the hall, and the boys' locker room and the girls' locker room was on the same hall, like literally the same hall, okay, like 20 feet away from each other. So I ran down to the boys' locker room and I knock on the door. Somebody opens the door and I'm like, I can't remember who took it, but I'm like, tell Ladarius to get my charger back. And so that's when I think Ladarius comes out to get my charger back, and so I get my charger. And so as he's giving me the charger, the cheer coach comes, Jania! And I'm like, yes. She's like, get your fast behind down here, blah 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 blah. Like she's going on. And one thing that bothers me is I truly, yes, I'm gonna say hate. I hate how quick and how adamant some people in our societies are to go and call black girls fast. Like, they just, like, people just love to try to sexualize black girls. Like, okay, like, let us be children, sweetie. I'm getting a full charger and this lady just called me fast. What? And so that really blew me, because at this point I was already kind of sent. Like, you had already sent me. Like, I was already like, so I get a charger. And so at this point now she's like telling other coaches, like, I just caught Jania down trying to get into the boys' locker room, blah blah blah. She was down there with some boy. And I'm looking like, first of all, I was trying to get my charger. She was like, no, are you trying to tell me that I'm lying? Blah 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 blah. Just going on and on. And I'm like, oh my gosh, like, oh, will I go to jail if I just one time, just one time, just, I didn't do it. So that's when, at that point, I think she was just doing the most, and my volleyball coach had actually just like pulled me to the side or whatever, and we just decided that I was just gonna skip cheer practice for the day. I just wasn't gonna go, cause it was just too heated, and I felt like she was kind of patronizing me. I did. And I felt like she knew the authority she had, and that I was a subordinate, and I felt like she was trying to push me to the point where I would disrespect her, so she had an excuse to act whatever way. But no. And I felt like she also had a little grudge going from the whole interaction with my sister, right? But she was a very bitter woman. Okay, so I skipped cheer practice for that day or whatever, and I think at the end of volleyball practice, right, mind y'all, volleyball practice and cheer practice end at the same time. So we at the end of volleyball practice, I'm outside waiting on my ride, and I see the cheer coach is right there as well. And so that day, my dad was picking up me and one of my friends. She was coming to my house with me because she was like the manager of the cheer team at the time. And so I see the cheer coach waiting outside, and I thought that was pretty odd, because usually like when we be getting picked up, like, she just waits in her classroom the whole time. Like, she don't even come outside. So we outside, and my dad pull up in his big green truck, and me and my friend go get in the car. So we get in the car, and next thing you know, the cheer coach is coming. She's, hold on, sir, hold on. And so she walks up to the window and just starts blurting out lies. She's like, are you her father? And he's like, yeah, yeah. And you know, my dad, like, just look at me. my dad is a good looking man, and so women think they slick, but they be trying to flirt with him. Like this one lady one time trying to flirt with him at Walmart, and I was just like, girl, you really want a man with this with kids? You want a man with kids? Me? I'll put a lizard in your cup. I'm just playing. Just kidding, guys. Just kidding. But anyways, so, you know, she was trying to, like, you know, she was doing all that smiling and cheesing. Mind y'all, I'm in the backseat finna throw up because this lady bitter. Like, I don't like her. I ain't ever seen her smile. So I'm like, why is she smiling at my... Why is she smiling at my daddy? So she basically started telling him how... she's like, yeah, so her and your older child were being very disrespectful to me. And he was like, wait, my older child, who are you talking about? She's like, Jania said that was her sister. You like, so she has an older sister, right? She's like, who's she talking about? Nadia? And I'm like, yeah. And so that's when she's like, yep. So her and what's her name? Nadia. They were in here.
They was acting very disrespectful after the game, and I think Nadia may have said a few curse words to me. And then also, I just wanted to come to you today, and maybe y'all can talk about this when you get home, because Jania has just been very disrespectful lately. And also today, I caught her trying to get into the boys' locker room. I don't know what she was going in there to do, but I caught her right outside the door, and I called her down immediately, and blah, 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 blah.
So I'm in the back seat, like, my friend is next to me, like, cause mind y'all, she's the cheer manager. She be around this lady. She see what this lady be doing. She know that this lady is sitting here lying. So we drive off, and my dad just start going off. Now mind y'all, I'm sitting here like, Daddy, she lying. She's lying. And now, if y'all have ever tried to tell your parent, if you're black, you know, if you've ever tried to tell a parent like your teacher is lying, they probably responded to you like, why would a grown adult need to lie on you? And my answer is, that's exactly what I was trying to figure out. What do I have on this woman to just make her want to lie on me? Like, what have I done to you? Maybe she just saw that I was just such a beautiful black queen and she just hated. She just didn't want me to shine in my glory. I don't know what it was, but she lied. She lied. She definitely lied. So he's in the car going off on me, and it was to the point where I literally told him, I'm like, girl, tell him that she's lying. Tell him that. Because maybe if he heard it from you, then yeah. And so at that point, he started going off on both of us. He like, I don't care. I don't need to hear it from your friend, because why would your friend not tell me that she lying? She your friend. She ain't my friend. So at this point, I'm just fed up, because I'm like, are you even my daddy for real? Because you ain't even try to hear my side. You ain't even try to hear my side. And so I get in the house, of course, and I just go to my room. I go to my room till my mama get home. And so I think my mama got home. I think I may have told my sister first, because I think my dad dropped us off and then he went back to work. So I may have told my sister first that this lady just came and lied on us, because I think my dad had actually called my sister going off on her for coming up to my school and quote unquote disrespecting my coach and whatever. Mind y'all, that lady like did my sister the worst way. So finally my mom get home, and I think my sister had already called my mom, because my dad called my sister going off. And my sister called my mom like, okay, he just called me going off for this, blah, 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 blah. So basically my mom get home, she even out the scales. I let her know like, this lady tripping, she doing the most. I let her know everything, put it on the table. Because my daddy wasn't trying to put nothing on the table. I'm like, put it on the table. Okay, so we laid it all out. All right, we did. I was doing a lot there. I was. But anyways, so that was that. So fast forward, I think my mom maybe tried to come up to the school, and then the coach gonna tell her she was unavailable, right? So my mom turns out, I think by coming up there, she had maybe saw the principal because she wanted to speak to the principal, right? So when she saw the principal, turns out her and my principal at the time they were actually friends from high school. So at that point, the principal was like, okay, we need to schedule a meeting right now. Scheduled it. So they scheduled the meeting, right? And so for the meeting, I wasn't nervous because I'm like, okay, I didn't already put it all on the table. I know my mama got my back. But at the same time, I'm not nervous. I don't like confrontation, and I just want to see how far this lady would go with her lies and her mess. So we get to the meeting, and my grandma and my mom came to the meeting. I think the principal was there and the cheer coach was there. So she comes in the room, and I don't know. It wasn't no what they call it. I don't know the word. But anyways, so we get here, sit down at the meeting, right? So I think the principal, he may have asked my mom to, kind of refresh everybody on what was going on. And so she said what she said, and then the principal asked the coach to say what she had to say about me. So mind y'all, the coach started the meeting off by giving all these compliments, like Jania is such a bright young lady. And so at that point when she said that, I'm like, please do not say all of this now. Because if I was such a bright young lady, you sure have been trying to pour water on my fire, trying to dim my light for these last few weeks. So please, don't do that. Don't do that. And I think my grandma may have said something about that too. Come on, just be real. Because mind you, like I said, she had been yelling at me. She cussed out my sister, and we get in this meeting, and it sounded like she trying to do the whisper song, like, hey, little mama, let me whisper in your ear. Like, she's just a whole different person. Like, sweetie, where did the energy go? So at this point, that's when they talking, and my grandma was saying what she had to say, mom was saying what she had to say, and I think the whole locker room incident came up, and I'm like, no, because I was going to get my charger from a friend outside. I didn't even step foot in the locker room. I didn't even open the door, and you went and told everybody and their mama that I went into the boys' locker room and was being fast in the boys' locker room. And my mom didn't like the fact that she had called me fast and all of that. And so then we had also brought up the whole thing with my sister, and she was saying something like she didn't believe that was really my sister and all of this mess. And I'm like, that's your fault. Because what do I have? Like, what reason do I have to lie to you? Like, what? That doesn't even make any sense. And so fast forward through the meeting, next thing you know, this lady is crying. And so at that point, I'm looking at how my parents look at me when I start crying for no reason. And I'm like, what the hell you crying for? And part of me is triggered because I'm like, do I need to give you something to cry about? But I'm like, okay, obviously that's not my place. So my grandma told me to step out the meeting or whatever. So I step out, and I had a lady still in there crying. I'm like, girl, what are you crying for? Like, what? I hope y'all don't believe this. I can't, because I can't. I cannot. I just can't. And so basically they talked about whatever they talked about, cleared everything up. And so I think after that, we was kind of in between, should I stay on the team or should I go? And so ultimately, I think I just decided okay, this is too much. And I decided to step away from the team. Now, mind y'all, they may have said something about okay, so is she gonna get a refund on the $600 she paid? But she was like, oh no. Everything was already ordered, so she'll just have to get the sweatsuits when they come. Because at that point, we're halfway through the season and nothing has arrived. Nobody has their sweatsuits. What is going on? Nobody has these imaginary uniforms, new uniforms we paid for. So what is going on? Because she just gave us the recycled uniforms, and I'm like, okay, so I don't know no sweatsuits that's $300, because you can take it to the little African embroidery shop down the street and get the name on it. What is this? And so basically after that all happened, right? So fast forward kind of towards the end of the season. If y'all have seen one of my other story times, this is where that would come in. Like, I ended up moving, right? I moved. So at that point I moved. I still had not received my stuff. I contacted the coach. She blocked my number. I contacted my volleyball coach, and the volleyball coach passed it along to her, like, okay, yeah, just give me Jania's stuff when it comes. And she said, okay. So of course, like, all of my friends still went there, and like my whole move thing was kind of sudden. So like I would still pull up to the games, like the away games and stuff with my friends, right? Tell me why I would pull up to these games, right? And nobody on the cheer team had a problem with me because I'm really just like a cool person. Yes, I can say that about myself because I know it's true. I'm a cool person. So everybody was very excited to see me, like everything. So all the girls on the team are like saying, oh my God, Jania, look, it's Jania. And they're waving at me, I'm waving back. And so I think it was like halftime. I go over there, I talk to a couple of them, and the coach is just staring at me like in disgust. And I'm looking like, why is she, like, what is wrong with her? Like, why is she looking like that? And they just like, oh girl, don't mind her. And literally that's when I think she called the cheer team. She was like, girls, no, come back over here, like come back over here. So next day, you know, I'm still kind of like hanging out over there or whatever. I'm not even by the cheerleaders at this point. I'm just kind of hanging out in the area watching the game. This lady gonna call the cops. This lady done called the freaking the security at the football game and told them I had threatened her and I was harassing her and that I shouldn't be, I can't be over there. And so I'm looking like, girl, what are you talking about? Like, what is wrong with this lady? Like, you really doing the most. And so at that point I'm upset and my friends are upset because they want to be with me. But if this lady acting like she finna call the cops every time I even get over there, like, that's messed up. So we end up going to like the other side of the game or whatever, and that was just that. And so fast forward, time goes by, still waiting. And I think I had noticed that other girls had got their sweatsuits, and one girl had actually even told me like, yeah girl, we finally got these little sweatsuits and they don't even have our names on it. So they got the sweatsuits just blank, not even embroidered, nothing. And so they got the sweatsuits, and I think she had made them return her the sweatsuits so somebody parent can go like do some iron on work and iron the names on for them. And that was that. Mind y'all, I still have not gotten my sweatsuits. And I think another game had came and I went trying to ask her for my sweatsuits, and she had to call the cops. And I was like, girl, if anything, I need to be calling the cops on you because you just stole my $600 and went to go pay your bills and went to go pay for your little silk press, sweetie. Like, I was really triggered because I never, like, truly, y'all, to this day, I never got that sweatsuit. I never got the sweatsuit, never got anything else that was supposed to come in the package but the shoes. That was it. But anyways, y'all, I know that story was lengthy. It was a very long story. So what? But that's how my teacher slash coach slash abuser stole $600 from me, okay? That was it. That's the story. But anyways, y'all already know. Click, smash, smack that subscribe button down below, and I will see y'all on my next video.